From the dawn of civilization, it seems, humanity has been locked in a relentless dance with conflict. Walls built, empires risen and fallen, ideologies clashed, and always the specter of war. But why is violence etched into our very DNA? Or is it a product of our societies, our beliefs, our history? Today we embark on a challenging journey, a quest to understand the complex, multifaceted origins of war. Let's rewind, far before written history, to our earliest ancestors. For a long time, the image of the noble savage dominated, suggesting early humans lived in peaceful harmony. But modern anthropology paints a more nuanced and often unsettling picture. Early hominids, existing in small, nomadic bands, faced immense pressures. Scarcity of resources, food, water, hunting grounds could quickly turn neighbors into rivals. Archaeological evidence, though sparse, hints at intergroup violence. Skulls bearing signs of blunt force trauma, arrowheads found in skeletal remains dating back tens of thousands of years. These silent witnesses suggest that conflict, even if not war as we define it today, was a part of the human experience. Works by scholars like Lawrence H. Keeley challenge the purely peaceful primitive narrative. He suggests that while full-scale organized warfare might be a later development, intergroup aggression for resources, mates, or revenge was likely present in our ancestral past. It's a sobering thought. Perhaps the seeds of conflict were sown even before we built our first permanent homes. The agricultural revolution, roughly 10,000 years ago, was a monumental turning point. Humans settled down, cultivating land and domesticating animals. This led to surpluses, permanent settlements, and crucially, the concept of property. With property came something worth defending, and something worth taking. Villages grew into towns, towns into early cities. Population density increased, and so did the potential for large-scale disputes. This is where organized warfare truly begins to emerge. Sociologists like Richard Wrangham explore the evolutionary roots of aggression and how it manifests in both chimpanzees and humans, especially in intergroup violence. He argues that the control of resources and territory became central to early human conflict as societies became more complex. The formation of tribes and then chiefdoms introduced hierarchies, leaders, and the ability to mobilize larger groups for both defense and conquest. This wasn't just about individual skirmishes. It was about collective action. We see early fortifications, walls around settlements like Jericho, dating back to 8000 BCE, a clear indication that defense against external threats was a primary concern. The very structure of society began to adapt to the reality of organized conflict. As societies grew, so did their belief systems, and often these belief systems intertwined with the justifications for conflict. Religion, intended to provide moral frameworks, has also, tragically, been used to sanctify violence. Look at the Old Testament. The book of Joshua, for instance, details the conquest of Canaan, often presented as a divinely sanctioned act. Passages like these have been interpreted by some as a justification for holy war, a concept that would echo through history. Similarly, early Islamic history saw the concept of jihad, which literally means struggle. While often interpreted as an internal spiritual struggle, it has also been used to justify military expansion and defense of the faith. The Quran contains verses encouraging believers to fight in the way of Allah, particularly against those who oppress or attack them. And of course, the Christian Crusades, launched in the name of reclaiming the Holy Land, stand as a stark example of religion mobilizing vast armies for centuries of conflict. Popes promised spiritual rewards for those who fought and died. It's crucial to note that all these religions also contain profound messages of peace, compassion, and forgiveness. Yet, human interpretation, the desire for power, and the need for justification have often twisted these texts into instruments of war. The idea of a divine mandate, that God is on our side, can be an incredibly powerful and dangerous motivator. Beyond the primal and the sacred, history offers countless examples of more earthly causes for war. Empires, from Rome to the Mongols to the British, were built on conquest. The desire for more land, more resources, and more power fueled centuries of expansionist wars. The scramble for Africa in the late 19th century, where European powers carved up a continent, is a prime example of resource-driven conflict, albeit one often cloaked in civilizing missions. Then there's ideology. The 20th century was ravaged by conflicts born from competing political and economic systems. World War II, a clash between fascism, communism, and democracy, demonstrated the destructive power of opposing worldviews. And today, resources remain a potent catalyst. Access to oil, water, or strategic trade routes can spark international tensions and proxy wars. The desire for control over these vital elements continues to drive conflicts across the globe. History teaches us that the motivations for war are rarely simple. They are a tangled web of ambition, fear, greed, and deeply held beliefs. Let's delve deeper into the sociological frameworks that try to explain why groups resort to violence. One key theory is relative deprivation. This suggests that conflict arises not just from absolute poverty, but from the perception of being unjustly denied resources or status. When a group feels consistently disadvantaged compared to another, resentment can fester and eventually erupt into conflict. Another powerful driver is group identity and outgroup bias. Humans naturally form groups and tend to favor their own, while often viewing others with suspicion. This us versus them mentality can be easily manipulated by leaders to demonize an opposing group, making violence seem not only acceptable but necessary. The security dilemma is another critical concept. When one state increases its military strength for defense, another state might perceive this as a threat and respond by increasing its own military, creating a vicious cycle of arms races, even if neither side initially desires war. It's a tragic paradox. The pursuit of security can paradoxically lead to greater insecurity. These sociological lenses help us understand how group dynamics, perceptions, and the pursuit of security can inadvertently lead to widespread violence. In our interconnected nuclear-armed world, the stakes of conflict have never been higher. While the immediate causes of war might evolve, cyber warfare, climate migration, global terrorism, the underlying human tendencies and societal structures that give rise to conflict largely persist. We've built international institutions like the United Nations, developed international law, and fostered global diplomacy, all in an effort to prevent large-scale wars. Yet, conflicts continue to rage, from regional skirmishes to devastating civil wars. So, is war inevitable? Perhaps not. The fact that most of human history, and most of human interaction, is not violent gives us hope. Cooperation, empathy, and altruism are also fundamental aspects of our nature. The origins of war are not a single simple cause, but a complex tapestry woven from our biology, our history, our societies, and our beliefs. It's a story of resources, power, identity, fear, and sometimes, profound miscalculation. Understanding these origins is the first step towards prevention. It means addressing inequality, promoting empathy and intergroup understanding, strengthening diplomacy, encouraging responsible leadership, and teaching history honestly. The challenge is immense, but the alternative is unthinkable. As we trace the threads of conflict through our past, we gain insight not just into why we fight, but perhaps how we can finally begin to build a more peaceful future. This journey is a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for destruction, but also our immense potential for change. What are your thoughts? Is war an intrinsic part of human nature, or a learned behavior we can overcome? Share your perspectives in the comments below. If you found this deep dive insightful, please like this video, subscribe for more historical and sociological explorations, and hit that notification bell. Thank you for watching.